Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Here we are on episode 20 of Ramirez Unraveled, and this is our first non-conspiracy related podcast, so you guys are making podcast history. We're going to do a deep dive on a film I was fortunate enough to see, part one, in Waynesboro about a month or so ago, called Faces of the Undead. I'm going to pass right now to my first guest. Please say your name while you're here, and we'll pass along.
I'm Ferenc, Gregor, and I'm the creator of Faces of the Undead anthology. I play the necromancer, writer, director, editor, hat.
And you came all the way from, you went to Baltimore today.
No, actually, I'm coming from Mount Airy and
Mount Airy.
Kyree.
Kyree will pass to you.
Yes, I am Kyree Stinson. I play Claudette, and I'm just very happy to be here.
And you came all the way from Baltimore City today,
yes.
so thank you for coming all the way to Martinsburg. Let's go ahead and pull up our first graphic, and Ferenc, right? I'm saying it, Ferenc. Let's talk about things forgotten. Let's talk about Faces of the Undead. Start with how people can follow you, and give us a good introduction to what this project is.
Faces of the Undead anthology sprang from our web series, Things Forsaken Storytime Just Got Real. In that series, it's a hybrid build and storytelling show. We write short films, original scripts, and I'm an artisan and an artist also by trade. So it's a hybrid build show, story show. We reenact the stories in character, and all of the crafting and the artwork, myself and various artisans, also actors, create all of those live on screen during the film. None of that stuff is done off screen and then we act like we're making it. You're watching the process of the crafting live on screen during those short films. I was looking to do another episode for the web series, and the build aspect just didn't quite have the bang for the buck that I wanted to do, and I've always wanted to do a horror film. Mm-hmm. So that moved me into walking myself into the menagerie we now call Faces of the Undead, which is a 3-part anthology. It's a dual lane road. If you drive the right lane, we hope you're entertained. You'll see kind of a disjointed, somewhat confusing horror flick. If you drive in the left lane and you start really watching the representation of the characters, listening to the dialogue, some being very repetitive for intentional reasons, and you start to see the message. It's very much built around the mental health suffering of the character I play, who cannot define reality from illusion, and also the question, what really is reality and what really is illusion? And so we're hoping that the viewer can get the POV and relate and experience that with the characters.
I love that. Kyree, let me ask, how did you get involved with the film? Who approached you? Tell me about how this all came, and then we'll save your shoot to a little bit deeper. But how did you get involved with the film?
So we met, actually, funny enough, at a Halloween party, and I don't remember why I was talking. What we were talking about, but one of my friends was just like, oh, let me introduce you to this person. Like, he's really cool. He's a director, just gassing you, glazing you up a little bit, speaking on all the great things you do. And I was like, oh, well, I have to meet him. And we got to talking at the party, and honestly, he explained it to me there, and I was like, that sounds awesome. I would love to do that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, actually, our assistant director, Michael Faulkner, mutual friend of ours, at his place, the Wiggle Room, and I had told Michael I was looking to cast a couple of the roles, and he says, "Well, let me introduce you to Kyree at Jasmine." And went there, and Kyree, I took one look at her. She was wearing what you see in the film, and I was just like, Bingo! Let me talk to this young lady.
Funny enough, that was my friend's dress. I did not own any of those pieces. So when you asked me if I could wear it, I was like, potentially.
That's awesome, and we have that in the trailer, so we'll look forward to seeing your whole outfit. Let's pull up our first production still, and that was one of the things I wanted to make sure that you give credit to the people that were involved in this, your lighting people, your film people. So let's talk about the creative team behind Faces of the Undead.
Yeah, we have a great crew. Just everyone's a treasure, and everyone was just pitching in. And a lot of times in production, you have people that have positions, and they come in with that position, and they want to stay right there. And of course, it's important that people stay in their lane, so to speak. But we're so blessed to have a crew of people that are willing to jump in for whatever's needed.
You can go ahead and bring that one down there.
Christian Drew
Bring
was
up
the
our
DP.
next one.
On that very first shoot was done in Newmarket, Maryland. This one right here, the lady doing the makeup on Chloe Stewart, who played Vera, and she was just doing a quick touch up in between takes. That's Kat Katan, and Kat is a part of the Mandalorians. She does a lot of cosplay. She does a lot of makeup. She is also one of the big characters in part 2. And so that gives you an idea of, she's an actress and a main character in the film, but yet she's willing to jump in,
Right.
and do makeup or
Right.
help in any respect. And it's almost like a theater troupe, which is something I'm very endeared to, the working
Right.
in that way, because I started this mess, I wrote this mess, blah blah blah. Supposedly I'm in charge of it. Right, and but it's not all about me. It's about the project, and it is a group. It is a
Right,
group
a
creation.
collaboration.
It certainly is in every respect. Yeah.
Let me ask. Now, had you done film before? What were some of your experiences? Any stage, theater, performance art? What are you? Yeah, what creative things are you endeavoring right now?
Okay, so this was my first time. Yes, I had done like a commercial before this. My main medium is modeling, so I have, I'm familiar with like shooting my face. Not so much acting, specifically voice acting, because I did have to have a couple sessions with Jasmine and Michael to kind of get a feel for the character voice. But yeah, this was my first time, and it was an amazing experience.
Good.
The energy on set just kind of made it easy to do. Everybody was so nice and helpful.
Cool. What's our next image? We have another one from production. You want to talk a little bit more about the people involved? And I loved the lighting in every aspect of the film. And what are you doing here with what's going on here?
This was shot. This is actually in the kitchen, where we shot the brothel scenes, the voodoo lair scenes, the outdoor scene near the end. The club itself is called the Terraced Guest House. It's a historic inn right on Main Street, Newmarket, and it is now a respite for the parents of special needs children.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. It's called A Mother's Rest, mothersrest.org. I'm going to plug them. They're wonderful. They're beautiful people. My wife, Amy, who you see in the credits, was the site manager. She is the innkeeper for this place. And so we were fortunate enough to work out being able to shoot there. And the little picture you just had there is because that's Chloe Stewart's head, Vera's head, that I take off near the end, and so we wanted to get some pictures with her with the prop head and everything, and so we've got a whole bunch of those kind of between takes, before and after things, just playing around, mementos.
Right. And what's our next one? Is this our last one? Our production 5?
Got one more.
One more.
Yeah, and there's Michael R. Faulkner right there, our assistant director. Um, that's me on the table. Michael was taking charge, and I got bad eyes. And Hannah Oneda, who is our head DP on these shoots, and of course Robert Dean, who was playing the historian and doctor as well, kind of paired up with Jesse. Not sure whose hands on the slate. Probably George Donathan's. But this is down in the basement where we set up the morgue area for that shoot. I went the day before, set everything up in there, and of course, once we get cameras, once we have lights, everything has to get changed around. Because I can picture this, I can do the basic storyboard, but once we start rolling, we see what works. So one of the advantages of a lot of the people that we're fortunate enough to work with is they're real good about adapting on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And still retaining the essence and the context of something without having to change it too much to get what we want. And it's just a blessing to be able to work with people like that.
No, I agree. Kyree, with your, let's talk about how long of an experience it was, your scene, what time you came on set. Was it more than one day? Talk about your preparation. Walk us through it.
Okay. So timing wise, I don't think I could remember that, but I know we got there decently early, and we did shoot pretty much all day. Yeah. It was very interesting to like see the behind the scenes and also be involved in it. But also to just see, like, for instance, doing the same take but from different angles, things like that, seeing all the camera work and all the lighting and all of the super important, like you said, super important behind the scenes stuff. That people aren't aware of, that create these beautiful masterpieces that we love. So how long were we on set? I couldn't even I took multiple naps. That's how I can
different days. Cast call was usually 9 and 10 o'clock, which for a lot of productions is pretty late, for to have a cast call. Crew calls, of course, earlier. We tried to keep it into roughly around 8 to 10 hours, partially because of crew. Crew usually has a set gauge and everything. But then, you guys are on set and we're shooting for 8 hours, maybe 10 and stuff like this. I'm leaving there at 4 a.m.
Right.
Because we've still got the wrap crew. We got to do this. We got, everything else. And, but I mean, you guys, a lot of different takes, a lot of different angles, a lot of material, a lot of data.
We have one last image for production.
Yeah, hang on. I didn't think you were going to go to it.
I'll ask you a couple of questions too, with like the people involved with your final production. Who's involved with your editing, right? Who helped with the editing? Let's talk about your lighting people, because the lighting in it is phenomenal. And then we'll take a look at that trailer.
A lot of the way the lighting works, the grips, the gaffers, in some of the outdoor shoots, that was Christian Druitt, who was DP, and Nicholas. He was doing dual roles again. Grip and gaffer, very, very small crew, a couple people literally, as far as the tech crew goes.
Now, let me ask, Ferenc, do you consider yourself an indie filmmaker? What term, is there any term to, and what kind of budget did you have with Faces? I mean,
it's strange because now that we have Faces and we've been in production, we're doing this, and I do have the web series as well. You're a filmmaker. You're an indie filmmaker. You're a this. You're a this. It's just.
Or you're a guerrilla filmmaker, huh? Yeah.
It's just like, it's just part of what I do. My main studio is called Sobral Studio, the Hungarian word for sculptor. And that's more of my mainstream. Things Forsaken is what has picked up to go towards the macabre and create in different areas that I wouldn't go mainstream with. Filmmaking is one thing that I do. I don't even know if you call me a filmmaker. It's I guess in some sense, yeah, I am, because I make film. I do all of the editing on these.
Wow.
Hannah Oneda is our DP, and we've been trying to work together to where she can be available and maybe do some editing with me. She was helping out. She had some time. She did the final credits for part one. But I do all my own editing and everything. For me, it's also an important asset because I try to shoot with editing in mind.
Yes.
I work in a lot of different mediums, and I play music. I'm a sculptor. I carve. I do props. Blah blah blah. I'm an actor. I'm not really good. I never said it was, but I am an actor. And a quote filmmaker, editor. So it's a lot of hats to wear. So for me, what this is a conglomerate to take all of the things that my brain just constantly wants to create things. So I get to work in so many different mediums in one part. But doing the editing myself and all, it does keep it more cohesive because I know what I'm shooting for. I remember seeing an interview with an actor, and I can't remember who it was, but they said something very interesting, and it really, really hit home with me because I totally agree. Film is a filmmaker's medium. Acting is a performer's medium. And what makes that cohesive is letting the performer and the actor do their thing, and the filmmaker captures.
Right.
And so working on both sides, both acting, working in the different aspects of production on set and post-production, it keeps me tied into everything all the time.
Absolutely. Let me ask Kyree before we take a look at the trailer. Horror films. Were you a fan of the horror genre before you got involved in this? And if so, what are some of your favorite scary movies? Just for fun.
Growing up, I was a scaredy cat, I can admit. I was very scared of anything like that. But as an adult, I have grown.
That's awesome. I envy you. I went and watched all the, what is it? Go.
I think the first one I watched, whenever Chucky came out, whichever Chucky came out when I was a child, scared me to death. I have to this day, I still have lots of figurines and dolls and stuff. So I think that really had me like, I can't watch this. I did not sleep for a week. I just knew my dolls were going to kill me. So that did turn me off for a long, long time. But now I'm enjoying finding these things as an adult, which is so much better because I'm in the know now.
Yeah.
And there's more nuance to it, like horror movies like to dive into topics that most people find uncomfortable just to talk about. Right. And now you have the visual with it as well. And they are very exhilarating. I'm more of like a psychological horror person.
Yeah. I love this.
I'm trying to think of any movie ever now. I'm like, what's a movie? But I like the Stephen King. Right? That's probably all I can. That's all I got. Good. I like It. It movies, the original and the remake, are pretty good. And I think, what was it called? Escape Room. Yeah. Escape Room came out in like 2016, 2017. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Escape Room, except you don't escape. And that is a big fear for me. I'm claustrophobic, so watching that, I was really gripping the couch. I was like, I don't know.
You're claustrophobic?
Yeah.
I'm making a note for that too.
We're going to get some real method acting in.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. This is Faces on Undead Part 1.
Part 1 trailer.
The residue here is 100 layers thick.
This no accident.
Mind yourself, little Miss Innocent.
Tina Erkel. Mani patchelen bara masko.
And make no mistake, those scraps are why I'm here.
Welcome to the Cascade Coffee, monsieur.
You and your toys.
I didn't realize that was the premiere that I saw, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. So let's talk about part one. Anything that you want to say, and how long did you work on that? How long from conception to execution?
Conception, that's a hard one because I always got so many things going through my head. You know, when you actually take the first step, you know, how do you define that? Faces of the Undead Part 1 roughly took from our first shoot, the actual first on-set shoot, roughly 9 months to the day that it aired. Within a couple weeks of that, I would probably say, to be safe. The very first shoot that we actually did was the outdoor shoot where the character gets turned into the necromancer, where you see the mask on, he changes from normal looking human into the necromancer with the mask and the body paint, the piercings, everything else. That was our very first shoot.
That's incredible. Kyree, with your part, you're in a brothel, right?
Yeah.
How did they prepare you for that? Did they tell you? Please tell.
You will be happy to know I was informed before going on set. Actually, he definitely told me the day we met. He was like, just so you know, this is like a brothel scene. And I was like, I'm down, you know?
Yeah, no. And let me ask about the chemistry that you have with Jasmine. You know, that comes across. I saw the part one. I really thought you guys were great together. What was it like to work together?
Working with Jasmine was really awesome. She definitely helped me, you know, with running lines and everything beforehand, couple weeks in advance. And once we got on set, she really helped keep me grounded. Because I don't really get too nervous, but, you know, like right before, that's when it hits me. It's never like nerves building up. I'm like, I'm fine. And then I get there and I'm like, oh no, what if everything goes wrong? So she was great with that. And we actually rolled up together and we ran our lines as we came up. And I feel like that helped me feel a lot more confident. And I'm trying to think of...
How do you say her last name?
That is a good question.
Elk Hoga? Am I saying it probably?
I've never heard her say it.
Jasmine
so I'm going with Elk Hoga.
Jasmine Elk Hoga. Well, let's go ahead and let's pull up the graphic that we have, Nick, because I thought this was pretty incredible, right? So, Jasmine is up for Maxim Cover Girl. I want anyone watching this show, anyone that's a fan of Faces of the Undead that would support this project, please go online and vote for this young woman. You have 2 days and a few hours left. Unfortunately, Jasmine wasn't able to appear in studio today, but I just thought this was pretty intense. When I found her Facebook page, friend requested her, and then I scrolled down and I'm like, holy shit. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, she definitely falls into the category of, you know, many hats. She's so talented. in so many things, and it
I
was
would
amazing.
use the word badass from when I looked at her. You know, I was like
I'll
just
use it too.
scrolling
She is
down, like
badass.
I was like,
I mean,
holy
not many people
shit.
can hold fire, and especially not make it look cool, you know. Because me personally, I'd be screaming and running away.
Open invitation to Jasmine to appear on
Yeah.
the show. I wish her well with
Yes.
Maxim and all of her endeavors, and I hope she's able to handle her family business.
Yeah.
So when I saw the film, a couple of things came to mind, but the one that stood out the most that I said I wanted to talk to you guys about was a film from 1977 came to mind called Pretty Baby. It stars Brooke Shields. She's actually only 12 years old in the film. It's a fairly controversial film.
Fairly.
Okay, but to put this in context, I bought it for $5 in the Walmart like DVD bin, right? Like
man.
the
How could you
cheap DVD.
know?
I knew what it was. Like I was like, what the fuck is Pretty Baby doing in the $5 DVD bin, right?
Wow.
But I bought early 2000s when I was learning cinema. I knew who Luis Mal was. I'd heard about the film, so I watched it. I thought it was kind of, let's take a look at the trailer we pulled up, Nick.
God damn! Does it really hurt to have a baby?
Pilot, you asking the wrongest person, the very wrongest person in the world.
This is my little girl, Vi.
How old are you,
I love Susan Sarandon.
I don't know. Do you like her?
She is very pretty.
Madam says there's something wrong with you. She's some kind of cream puff or something.
Cream
Why are you
puff.
acting this way? I'm gonna make you so happy. You're just my kind of man. Do you think maybe I should just show him?
So this is how you would repay me.
I definitely found myself thinking that film could not be made today, right? Like, it could not be made today. And the reason it came to mind was mostly because of the time period that your film is set in is fairly similar. Some of the costuming. Turn of the century. Now, Pretty Baby is okay. The whole reason I was going to do this, I have a friend of the show who says, talk about the things that you're passionate about, you care about. I love cinema, right? I'm a filmmaker. I used to teach films. I don't get an opportunity to talk about art or film very much these days. So Pretty Baby is loosely based on the life of a real life photographer. His name was E.J. Belloc. In art, you tend to hear this myth that I'll be discovered after I'm dead kind of stuff, like every artist lives with that delusion. E.J. Belloc, it actually happened to. He's discovered about 20 years after his passing by another famous photographer named Lee Freelander. But I thought we would take a look at a couple of the pictures that E.J. Belloc did, and he's played by Keith Carradine in the film. I'm going to tell you Keith Carradine's story at the very end of this. This is one of the E.J. Belloc photographs, turn of the century brothel in New Orleans. I had first learned about E.J. Belloc and his photography through my favorite photographer, someone I guess you would call a horror photographer. His name was Joel Peter Wicken. He was a big fine art photographer, 80s, 90s. But he actually, let's look at the next one, Nick. And the next one. Oh, okay, this one. He would actually make his photographs look like that. He would print them through tissues. Now, these are real rough because of the old days of photography. You actually had an 8x10 piece of glass that was chemically coated.
Yeah.
So the pieces that are flaked off and things like that are the actual emulsion that has come off. And the next one. And is that it? Okay, yep, that's it.
What made that guy's eyes bleed looking at that?
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so here's my Keith Carradine story, my Baltimore story. This was when I was younger and I didn't know better, but I liked Keith Carradine. I'd been a fan of his what is Southern Comfort with Southern Comfort with Powers Booth. I always thought that was a great film. But he was in town in Baltimore. I was in film school. He was there doing Oklahoma, and I'm in line, and it was called Henry and Jeff's or something. It was like a little deli on Charles Street. People start whispering, Keith Carradine. And I didn't know that you weren't supposed to go up to celebrities, so I just turned around, walked right up. I was like, Keith Carradine, so nice. I loved you. But so I got to meet him, but it's a strange film, The Pretty Baby. If you ever get a shot, take a look at it.
I don't know if I've actually ever seen it. I know I've seen clips. And
like I said, I watched it back when I had, like, in the 2000s. I remember thinking that it was, they had too much money. I mean, it's, a well-produced film. It's good,
But it has that soft cinematic look.
Oh, it's beautifully crafted.
Not as much the not as much the 70s, 80s, because there was a big thing about that type of cinematography. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a couple people say there's parts and faces that very much mimic that softness.
Yeah, you have
and
beautiful. Yeah, your DP does beautiful work.
The rock stars and Hannah Oneda and Michael Faulkner are the assistant director. Mark Elzey, George. I mean, everybody that was working and dialing in the lights, and the way that kind of works is, they dial things in. He'd get to a point to where they'd agree, yep, that looks good, that looks like this, and sometimes I'm laying on the morgue table, mm-hmm. So it's like, do you want to see this? And it's kind of like, somebody would bring over the phone or something, for me to look at, and sometimes I'd just be like, I trust you. Mm-hmm. Now,
let's set up for the second trailer. What would you like to say about that?
Put your seatbelt on. It is a continuation. The anthology parts of Faces of the Undead are kind of standalone stories. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give away too much with this. There's a combination you'll see in the trailer, some things that are just so disconnected. What the heck does this have to do with being in the same movie as this? And originally, I will say, excuse me, that they weren't. Mm-hmm. One, we shot all of the outdoor, big outdoor and kind of outdoor kill scenes, so to speak, mm-hmm. right away when the weather was good. And that allowed to free me up in case the weather got bad. Everything else for the rest of the season this year is inside shoot. Mm-hmm. So we can keep moving. Right. We're not going to get held up in production and such. But what happened is I have a chronic eye condition. Mm-hmm. And my eyeball doctors and everything are gods. And they put me on some new eye drops, which... and I'll just give you a little bit. I won't tell you the whole thing. But one of the names of these are called serum tears. The other name is called blood tears. And they literally make them from my blood. And as soon as the doctors told me about this and wanted me to go to the lab to have these done, I'm like, rip. Because now I've got some ideas. We got some inspiration.
Oh, that's funny.
For part 2, and kind of a license to go in a lot of places that you normally would stonewall yourself. So that's where that comes to. It's strange. The inspirations, and I want to bring back up to part 1 again. The inspiration, especially what you see the necromancer's transformation. We touch bases on a lot of different time periods, a lot of cultural inspirations, and a lot of the imagery that you will see is very familiar Strangely enough, much of it has nothing to do with the other. It really doesn't. The idea of those piercings with the necromancer ceremony, the mask itself is inspired by a historical mask. It's a very primitive looking scene. Those the hook piercings and all that, and you'll see at the end of the movie there's a medical scene. I won't give it away for those who haven't seen it, but you'll see why that ties in with that. And you've seen that. That was inspired primarily because we wanted to do something different with the voodoo transformation in the doll. How many times do you see the pins go in? How many times do you see the nails getting beat in? I don't want to do something that's been done and done and done. So it came to me, let's do the hooks. And so that's where that was inspired from.
Oh, I like that. Now, have you seen any of this, the part 2 yet?
Oh, part 2?
No, I've only seen the trailer.
Yeah, the little teaser.
I'm going to get your reaction to the trailer from here first, okay? So let's play this trailer for part 2.
The teaser. This isn't even an actual trailer.
Right.
This
little teaser you put together for everybody.
Okay. Just stay still now.
Can you put it up on our screen? Sorry, Nick. No. Kyree, share your thoughts.
This trailer did creep me out, I will say.
Yeah.
It creeped me out and it allured me.
Yes.
That's exactly what I said in the car. I'm like, it pulls you in. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It leaves you with that, like, what is this? What is this? And how can I find out more? So I like that it has, like, a similar feel to the first, but also completely different.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah. The term, and this is an old college term, the theater of the mind, right? I remember Joel Peter Wiccan in this discussion with Dwayne Michaels, theater of the mind. That's the thing I love with your work, you know, is it's very cerebral, it's very internal. Your graphics are fantastic, you know, everything that you're doing is top notch.
Well, thank you.
I wish you the best of success. Talk a little bit about where you're at with part 2, what your future plans are, and really how people can follow you. And we'll bring this thing to a little bit of a close.
Dig it. Part 2 is a continuation of part 1. It takes place in a completely different time. Part 1 takes place primarily in the Cask and Coffin Club of New Orleans. Part 2 is a pickup, when you see the end of part 1, of where this necromancer character is. And again, we're bringing back all the same cast and some fresh faces. And they're playing new roles. The roles in part 2 are different people, different place, different time. Their positions are very similar to positions in part 1. And I won't give that reason away why. You'll have to see the entire anthology when everything gets revealed at the end of part 3. We're in production, obviously. We've got footage in the can. Like I said, we took the headhunter scene stuff we did, and we moved that into part 2, along with the crow scenes you did. You saw just a quick flash of the lady being hung. That was Kat that we talked about on set, working and helping with makeup before she plays a major part. Sean Sokolowski the gentleman who was getting his face eaten at the end there, and being chased in the jungle. Sean played a real quick little part in part 1. He was the waiter. And if you notice, if you watch it again, you'll see there is a scar on that waiter's face right around here. And that's even in part 1. So now he's playing this in part 2. So it kind of gives you an idea, little golden eggs to watch out for in part 1 that lead into part 2. Like I said, we're in production, obviously. We shot some stuff. We're in concept and writing script and character. I don't write full scripts for a film start to finish. I write as I go. Don't misconstrued that I literally write as we're doing it. However, that does happen. It does happen sometimes. Sometimes I will write script an hour or two before while we're on set. It all depends on the situation. But what we're doing is I like to watch the films evolve as well. And I don't like to back myself into corners, especially going by industry standards. We are no budget.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm like, would you call my accountant and explain that to them, please?
Yeah.
Because I'm paying for this. But we're writing a bit at a time. I just spent some time with Chloe Stewart this morning, doing her interview. We're getting ready to start putting out part 1 as a special edition on Blu-ray and DVD. Special edition because they will have cast interviews, commentary, behind the scenes, all that stuff involved. And we were talking about that very aspect. And I talked to Kyree, and I talked to all the cast. And one of the questions that I ask in our interview is, if it was an open menu, what kind of character would you want to play in part 2? And so I'm very open to see where they're at. What do you want to do? What are you passionate about? What is going to be your caviar on the top? Because I want to figure out how to give that to you and work that together. So it's a very evolving process, and I really prefer to work that way. You can find us, of course, on Facebook. I'm on Facebook personally. You're better off staying to the business pages, because if you friend me on Facebook, I'll send you weird messages in the middle of the night. I never sleep. Faces of the Undead, Things Forsaken, also Instagram, TikTok, pretty much all the platforms we're on. We do have the updated crowdfunder. You saw in the beginning of our podcast here that there's a QR code.
Yes.
Hit that QR code. It'll take you straight to it. Trailers, teasers, new updates, information. If you'd like to donate, we got some dynamite perks and some new ones. We'd love to have you involved. And Don, thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for hearing us out.
Before we close out, all right, Kyree.
Yes.
All right, I know that you have a bunch of people at home who are going to watch this, so I want you to give a shout out to all them by name. Who's going to watch you by name? You got younger brothers, sisters. Come on, say it. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell them thanks for watching to the end.
Yes. Okay. Before I say that, I would like to just send my flowers, across the couch, because I just admire how much your art is inspired by real life. I think that's what makes like a good film. That's what separates the good from the great. Like when you told me about the eye drops, I was like, that is genuinely like amazing. And your brain is so crazy for thinking that, but in the best way possible. And the fact that not only just your own life, you're not inspired just by your life, but the people around you. For instance, the outfit change, I originally, who knows what I would have worn, but he saw it and he was like, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, but to shout some people out, I would like to Shout out my mom. You know, you gotta
What's
say
your
the mom.
mom's name? What's the name?
Shalia Wynn. I know you're watching. Timmy Reed is actually the photographer who got me into like modeling and acting. So big shout out there. I'm gonna just name some names: Ashley, Tam, Destiny, and my aunt Tisa. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody, thanks for watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can add just
Sure.
one quick thing, because I would be so amiss if
Please.
I did not. We scored this entire film ourselves. Music, sound effects, all the background, everything. And that was quite a task. And Sean Sokolowski, who plays a main character, you saw it getting his face eaten and taken off, everything in part 2, played the waiter in 1. Sean is an extremely talented musician as well. And my son Tristan, who wrote the beginning music, that's a theme through the whole thing. And we left that raw. That was a recording he made in his room one night. And it messed me up pretty bad when he played it for me. It's like, this is my son in this space. Yeah, so, I mean, the idea of personal experience and trying to do something more grounded in a horror movie, it just, these are the horrors to me that are real.
Yeah.
You know?
Exploring that minefield in your personal life.
Sean took some of the bare bones that we put together and we dialed it in with him, and he laid a bunch of those tracks, the piano work, a lot of the instruments. Daniel Lee of Daniel Lee Studio, my main trumpet player, laid all those trumpet tracks. He sent those things back to me, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so sweet, my teeth hurt. Mark Kelly, Baltimore Kelly, our secondary trumpet player. My dear Liz Brewster is my cello player. So there is a large collaborative effort in that soundtrack, and I'm beside myself at how that came out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the soundtrack's fantastic.
I just wanted to give a shout out to them about that.
Yeah. Ferenc and Kyree, thank you both for coming on the show. This has been fantastic. I'll definitely have you back. Same with you. Again, Jasmine Elk Hoda. Vote for her for Maximum Cover Girl, and an open invitation anytime you want to come on the show. Nick, take us home. Take us out.